From a year of protest to water on Mars, stay tuned to number 1 to find out the most important stories of 2018. Number 10. Hawaiian Missile Crisis Scare. Let's start off with a bang, or at very least one that was thought to have happened, and ironically, this one actually did happen near the beginning of the year. January 13th, 2018 started out like any other day in Hawaii, but then people got an alert on their phones, one that warned them that a missile was inbound towards the islands. Now, if you got this message right now, you'd think it was a prank, except that this message came via an official channel, making everyone freak out about what exactly was going on. Eventually, order was restored when another message was sent out stating that there were no missiles and the first alert was an accident. Apparently, the people in charge of such messages were hosting an exercise about what to do should a missile attack happen. An employee didn't know it was a drill and sent out the message. He has since been fired, and more security procedures have been put into place to ensure that this doesn't happen again. Hopefully. Number 9. Royal Wedding. Who doesn't love a wedding? Okay, many of us don't love weddings, but the world was captivated by the lead-up and fruition of the marriage between Prince Harry of England and American actress Meghan Markle. Their love story was right out of a fairy tale, or maybe a Hallmark movie, depending upon your tastes. They met at a party and were a very unlikely couple, mainly because the royal family has often had very strict tastes in terms of spouses, and Markle broke every single rule. She was a divorcee, and she was not fully white, being of mixed descent via her parents, which, most of times, is a red flag for the crown. But this was a love that could not be denied. The wedding was an event that the world at large watched. Celebrities from all parts came to see the event, and when the two said "I do," the world went "Aw." Following the May 19th wedding, it was eventually found out that the newly minted Duchess of Sussex is pregnant with Prince Harry's child. Nothing like a good royal scandal. Number 8. Doctor Who is a woman. Before we talk about this infamous doctor, take a moment to like this video and join the Zero to Hero community by using the buttons below. Alright, technically this happened in 2017 via the Doctor Who Christmas special. However, on October 7th, 2018, the first official episode of Doctor Who starring British actress Jodie Whittaker took place, and a new era of Doctor Who was born. This changing character, quite literally, was a big thing for the series. For over 50 years and 13 doctors, Doctor Who has always been male, every time, without fail. They teased that a woman could be the Doctor, but they've never made it so until Jodie Whittaker's casting once Peter Capaldi stepped down from the role. From the moment she arrived in her debut episode, Jodie infused the role with a kindness and friendly quality that many of the other Doctors just weren't able to convey. And while her casting is still controversial in some people's eyes, Doctor Who, as a series, saw a major ratings boost with the new season, and she's just getting started. Number 7. Rock the Vote. Since the election of Donald Trump in the United States, many have been vocal about the presidency. But this past November, the people of the country, and even beyond it, urged others to vote. We've seen rock the vote movements in the past, but this was something else. This was less about encouragement and more about making people understand that they actually had the power to change things. Leading up to the midterm elections for the US, people on Facebook, television, Twitter, and more rose up to encourage young voters, older voters, men, women, people of all races, and more to get out there and vote. It was getting so big that even people from industries you wouldn't expect to care were getting involved. For example, many comic book writers went to Twitter to encourage their fans to vote, even offering free comics if they proved they did so. And even if this isn't election season, I still encourage you to exercise your right to vote. Number 6. Disney buys 21st Century Fox. Heading back to the world of entertainment, Disney made a colossal deal to make itself an even bigger entertainment icon, for it bought out 21st Century Fox for an astounding $71.3 billion. Rumors of this happening started to surface back in 2017, but it wasn't until June 20th, 2018 that the deal was accepted by Fox. In this deal, Disney gets all of Fox's movie studios, intellectual properties, and numerous television channels. This makes Disney the biggest entertainment provider on the planet in many aspects, which has caused many to cry foul and even sue Disney and oppose the merger due to monopoly laws. Though the deal is still being processed, many are saying that the deal will go through without any major hurdles. For Marvel fans, since Disney now owns them, this acquisition brings the X-Men and Fantastic Four into the Marvel Studios fold, as well as certain other characters associated with them. Number 5. Passing of Stephen Hawking. Every year, people pass away. That's just how the world works. But in the case of March 14, 2018, we lost one of the most brilliant minds our planet has ever known, Stephen Hawking. Hawking was a genius from almost the word go, and helped define theoretical physics and cosmology in new and exciting ways. More than that, his battle with ALS was legendary, and his refusal to stay down while the disease consumed him made him a pop culture icon. He appeared on all sorts of TV shows and movies, and even had an Oscar-winning movie made about his life. His legacy, though, will truly be about his strength. For most times, ALS takes people's lives within a few years. Yet, he survived for 50 years after his prognosis. Rest in peace amongst the stars, Mr. Hawking. Number 4. The March for Our Lives. There are many things that are hard to talk about on this list, and one of those things is school shootings. Sadly, in 2018, in the United States, there were many shootings in schools as well as other places like churches and even malls. While this technically wasn't anything new, as 2017 had numerous gun violence incidents as well, it was 2018 that everyone seemed to have had enough. Something had to change. And when it was clear that the politicians weren't going to do anything, the people of the United States decided to make their voices heard in a very loud way. So they went on the March for Our Lives. It was started by students, but then spread to people of all ages and all walks of life. They went to Washington, D.C. and filled the streets, protesting the gun laws that allowed these terrible events to happen. While the politicians may have been able to ignore a single protest, the March for Our Lives movement spread all over the United States, with 800 similar protests taking place. This would not be ignored, and though the protests did stop, the movement hasn't. And many, including people who were caught up in the school shootings, are fighting with everything that they have to change gun laws. Number 3. Black Panther arrives in theaters. For the record, Black Panther was not the first black superhero, or even powered character to be featured in the lead in a movie. Blade, Spawn, and even Still were the first to do that in the modern era. But for Black Panther, this was something different. This was something special. This was the first African hero to get the spotlight in a superhero film. It would feature an African king showing the legendary fictional nation of Wakanda for the first time in live action. And just as important, it would feature a mostly black cast, with a few exceptions obviously, and be directed by Ryan Coogler, an African American. It may not seem important to some, but it really was. Black Panther was anticipated for a while, but no one could have anticipated what came next. The movie exploded at the box office. It earned $200 million in its first weekend in the US. That is the most, even for a solo superhero film, and one of the biggest openings of all time. By the time it was done, it earned $1.3 billion worldwide. This was a statement for both superhero films and films in general. You can have a non-white lead and dominate the box office. And now, Black Panther is up for Golden Globes and rumored to be considered for the Best Picture Oscar. Number 2. Unification of Korea. Believe it or not, there was actually a lot of peaceful endeavors going on with various countries around the world, mainly via leaders of certain countries agreeing to stop hostilities, expand the rights of their people, and open up conversations that could bring much-needed peace to their regions. Some of the biggest stories, though, focused on North Korea and its seemingly sudden desire for peace, not just with other nations, but also for its eternal rival, South Korea. This all started on April 27th when North Korea leader Kim Jong-un went into the demilitarized zone and crossed the line in the sand in order to step into South Korea. He was the first leader in the history of his nation to do just that. He went there for the purpose of speaking to the president of South Korea, Moon Jae-in, and they had a long talk about their countries and put a focus on making both of their lands non-nuclear. Un not only seemed to agree to this, but on June 12th, he met with United States President Donald Trump and had a peace summit that reaffirmed that North Korea would shut down its nuclear program. These events have led many to wonder if there is a chance that Korea might unify. Though it hasn't happened yet, there is hope. Number 1. Water probe on Mars. NASA, for all intents and purposes, is not even close to the renowned organization it once was. However, through independent funding and a bit of luck, they have been a part of many big stories in a year that was 2018. On May 5th, NASA launched a probe called InSight, with the mission of making it to Mars to conduct various missions that could help further understand the planet. On November 26th, InSight successfully landed on Mars, and it was worldwide news. Usually such endeavors don't end well, but the probe was well designed and it made it there without a scratch, and is going about its mission to collect data and study the internal structure of the planet. This is even more important now because on July 25th of 2018, scientists believe that they discovered proof of water on Mars, something that for years was thought to be a pipe dream or an impossibility. If there is even a chance that water is on Mars, it opens up the possibility of a more natural colonization of the red planet. Okay, granted, we're still many years from that, but now, at least the possibility is more open for discussion. So in a year full of hardships and tragedies, isn't it great that there's a hope our future may once again lie in the stars above? What was your most important story of 2018? Let us know in the comments below and take care.